Hi everyone, my name is True Kwong and I'm doing my presentation on the multi-state outbreak of Salmonella infections linked to pot pies. Step 1. Background. Salmonella is a foodborne illness caused by a group of bacteria. Symptoms of this infection can include fever, stomach pains, vomiting, and diarrhea. In 2007, an outbreak of Salmonella occurred throughout the United States, ranging from California all the way to Maine. Following the investigation, it was revealed that 401 cases of Salmonella were spread throughout 41 states. After further analysis, it was determined that the infection was linked to various brands of frozen pot pies from the same manufacturer, Kong Agri-Foods. 77% of those infected reported that they cooked the pot pie in the microwave, which could have resulted in the pie being undercooked. The outbreak lasted from January all the way through December. The average age of infected persons were 20 years old, and it was an equal percentage of males and females. Out of all the patients, 50% had diarrhea containing blood, and over 30% had to stay in the hospital. Step 2. Current situation. Kong Agri-Foods manufactures several brands of frozen pot pies, including Banquet, Albertsons, Kroger, and etc. These pot pies were distributed among various stores throughout the United States, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean. The outbreak was first recognized by the Pennsylvania Department of Health and then transferred to various health departments in the CDC. The CDC was then able to notify Kong Agri-Foods of the outbreak, which was then carried out a voluntary recall. Strength is that various health departments in the CDC constantly monitor for salmonella outbreaks. Weakness is sometimes they do not catch the outbreak early on and many people are already infected. Opportunity. This allows for further education on salmonella. Threat is to public health if this bacteria is not carefully monitored. The main organization handling surveillance of these outbreaks is the CDC. The CDC's mission is to protect America from various health threats, whether it's foreign or local. Step 3. Prioritize core issues. The root cause is that many people do not consider the risk of contracting salmonella when handling food/animals. For example, out of the 78 of the 130 patients interviewed during the salmonella outbreak that used their microwave, only a little over 28% of them knew about the importance of wattage in cooking food in the microwave. The majority of these infections occurred due to the patient's lack of knowledge in properly cooking food. If these patients had known their microwave wattage, then they could have cooked the pot pie for the correct duration of time and ultimately avoid acquiring salmonella. Salmonella can only survive if the food is undercooked. This outbreak displays the need for education on salmonella and properly cooking food. People need to know the dangers of ill-prepared food and the health issues associated with salmonella. Step 4. Analyze alternatives. This outbreak was resolved when Kong Agri-Foods voluntarily recalled all of their frozen pot pies and changed their labeling to be more prominent and clearer in hopes of helping their customers properly prepare their products. Two alternative solutions are to educate people on the dangers of this illness and to create new guidelines on manufacturers that produce these microwavable foods. To educate people, ads should be placed on the internet informing people of undercooking food and salmonella. In regards to the new guidelines, manufacturers should place warning labels next to the instructions of the product. Health belief model. The perceived accessibility displays the negative health effects of salmonella. The perceived benefit shows the benefits of not acquiring salmonella. And cues to action conveys how the CDC is preventing salmonella outbreaks. Step 5. Recommendations. One recommendation is to continue changing labels and instructions on these microwavable foods to be clearer and more noticeable. By doing so, the consumers can avoid confusion on how to properly cook their food. Another recommendation is to increase the amount of times the FDA inspects plants that produce frozen, ready-to-eat foods. Recent reports have displayed that the FDA is lacking in terms of inspecting food plants. Less than half of these facilities are inspected every year and is declining as each year goes by. In order to ensure these plants are following the guidelines, the FDA must inspect these places more often. Ideally, these inspections should occur twice a year. Step 6. Action Plan. The action plan is to gauge the amount of people that know about salmonella and food safety, which should take about 3 months. Second step is to hold campaigns to educate people on salmonella, which take about 6 months. Step 3 should resolve the manufacturer issues such as cross-contamination and improper labeling. This should take 10 months. And finally, Look at results, which should take about 3 months. Step 7. Opinion. To be honest, I didn't really think about salmonella until this presentation. I have to admit that I am pretty reckless when it comes to handling slash cooking food because I don't think twice about getting salmonella. For example, I've used the same chopsticks to cook raw slash cooked meats, or I've intentionally eaten undercooked foods. Which is why, in my opinion, salmonella should be more publicly discussed and advertised. Without constant reminders about the bacteria, people will soon forget and continue their old bad habits. These outbreaks can be prevented through proper education and if everyone worked together to remind each other to be more careful.